The first time I saw one of these, I knew I had to have it. Now, when most people look at the DiveVolk, they think underwater camera, underwater video. I looked at it and saw a way to make decompression stops much less painful. And that's what I've been doing for over a year. I put an old phone in one of these things. I leave them somewhere on the line for when I come back up again. And then I pick it up and I use it to watch videos that I've downloaded from Amazon or BBC iPlayer or whatever. It works fantastically well for that. But recently, I've kind of taken it back to its roots and I've given it a go as a camera, as a video camera, to kind of see what it's like. And that's what this video is going to be about. The two things that I use the DiveVolk for. The first is watching videos on decompression stops. And the one that is probably of more importance to more people is using it as a video or camera platform. I first saw it at the Go Diving show in 2025. It was on a trade stand there. Clearly, it was all about using it to take underwater photos, underwater videos. But I looked at it and it became obvious really quickly to me that there was another use for it, which is about boredom management on long deco stops. People who've watched my other videos or some of my other videos will know that I used to use a Kindle in a waterproof bag for this purpose, and I would read books during my deco stops, and that worked really well. But this is absolutely next level decompression stop boredom management. I love it so much for this purpose that I will almost not get in the water unless I've got one. On several occasions, I have forgotten, or the phone battery's not been charged or something like that, and I've literally been crying on deco stops because I know exactly what I could have had. I know that I could have been watching a film or a TV series or something like that. Anybody who's done lots of long deco will know that it can be mind-numbingly tedious. Some people quite enjoy it. They enjoy the solitude and the tranquility and everything. I am not one of those. If I don't have anything to do, I'll sit there obsessively watching my computer very, very slowly tick down. So that's why I love the DiveVolk. I normally leave it somewhere between about 45 to 12 meters. I've got a special bag for it. I've got some clips. It might go on the lazy shot. It might go on the release, but it will be somewhere on the line. And I look forward to that moment when I arrive there and I get it in my hand and I can start watching. It's a really great moment in any long deco dive. The one thing that people sometimes say to me about it is that I become so focused on it that I don't necessarily watch what's going on more widely, and that is a really valid criticism. The kind of, I guess, counter to that might be people who zone out or people who go into their own little world are exactly the same, but it is a reasonable criticism. I find there's a few things I've got to do before I get in the water. The first is I've got to turn the volume up to max. I've also got to turn the brightness up to max. And on my phone, which is a Pixel 8, I also have to make sure that it doesn't go to sleep. There's a special app for that called Wakey. Once that's done, the phone can go in the DiveVolk, goes in my bag, and gets put on the line, either deployed or I drop it off on the way down. When I arrive back at the line, fairly straightforward, just take it out and then I can start watching it for whatever I want. One of the things people aren't often aware is that the DiveVolk has a touchscreen, so you can operate the touchscreen through the housing. Now, with dry gloves, that can be quite tricky. It's more of a kind of area weapon than maybe the precision that we're used to. So in order to make that a bit easier, I carry a double ender on the bag, and then I can just basically push the touchscreen with that. It works really well. The other thing that people say to me is, how can you hear what is going on? Because obviously the phone is inside the DiveVolk. Well, because I've got the volume up to maximum, I can still hear what's going on. It's not perfect, but you can hear it for certain. The other thing I do is I put captions on, and of course I can read the captions. So actually watching films, watching TV series, all of those kind of things works sufficiently well that you can understand what's going on. As you can probably tell, I'm a huge fan. I love it to bits. A couple of things, though, I suspect people are interested in. The first thing is, how do you get your phone in? Well, each phone requires a insert. You put the phone in the insert, and then the insert goes in the DiveVolk, and they are specific for each particular model of phone. So when you order your DiveVolk, you say, I've got whatever phone it is, and they will send you one. The other thing you can do is, on the DiveVolk website, they've got the 3D printing files for each model of phone. So if you upgrade your phone, then you download that file and then you get it 3D printed. I'm sure everybody these days knows somebody with a 3D printer, or the services that do it online, or I'm sure DiveVolk will sell you one. The next thing that I think people are interested in is, what level of confidence do you have with your phone in these things? So I've actually taken my real phone in. I did that for quite a long time, maybe 50 dives. I put my real phone in one of these things. I don't do it anymore. I've upgraded my phone, so I keep my old phone in there now. But I've never had any leaks. I've not even had a hint of a leak. The seal on it is really, really good. And I have on one occasion gone in with only one of the knurled nuts done up. I've no idea why, but the single knurled nut still kept it watertight. And I've had these things down to about 50 meters, no problems at all. So I'm really confident in the seals. Brightness, well, that's kind of dependent on your phone. I do find, especially with some films, that the screen isn't as bright as I would like. Even though I've turned up the phone to maximum brightness. That's not down to the DiveVolk. It's simply down to, I think, all phones in certain light conditions really struggle with brightness. Weight and buoyancy, it's slightly negatively buoyant, which I guess is what you would expect when you look at it. But it's not so negatively buoyant that it's going to affect your trim or anything like that. And the other thing, as you've seen, it's a absolute doddle to put together. So that's the DiveVolk as a device for watching videos and countering boredom. What's it like as a platform for videos and photos? I'm really fortunate. I've managed to get two sets of comparisons. One is in the UK in some kind of green water diving, and my friend Danny took the DiveVolk rig, in fact it's his own DiveVolk rig, took it out to Egypt and got a load of video and photos out there. Most memorably, it also captured his proposal to Claire, which he did on the bow of the Thistlegorm, which is pretty incredible, I think. And I'd just like to say well done to them both, and I wish them a long and happy life together. They're both great people, so they both deserve it. But onto the idea of the DiveVolk as a housing for your mobile phone so you can take photos and videos underwater. I think it goes without saying that the concept is absolutely brilliant. One of the traditional challenges with any form of underwater video or photography is taking it from whatever device you've created it on and then getting it onto however you're going to publish it. In this day and age, obviously everybody wants stuff on social media, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is. And by recording the information or recording it on your phone, all of a sudden it just becomes like any other piece of content that you've created. And unsurprisingly, that aspect of it works super well. Obviously it's dependent on which phone you've got, but in this day and age, we're all used to using whatever it is, whether it's an Android or an iPhone, and then uploading it to our preferred social media platform. I'm sure nobody will be surprised to hear that you can't do it from underwater, or maybe you can't do it yet. I'm sure there's lots of people working on solutions for that. So you take your phone underwater in the housing. I've already shown you how to do that. You record whatever content you want. You bring it out of the water. You remove it from the DiveVolk, and then it's just like anything else that you've recorded on your phone. And that process works really well. It's really simple, really straightforward. Therefore, I guess the focus of this video is what's it like underwater? How easy is it to use? What's the quality of the content that you produce like? So let's crack on with the first of those, which is how easy is it to use underwater. Now, I've already shown you in this video how I use it for watching videos, and you'll have seen it's actually really straightforward. You've got that touch screen on the back, which allows you to access almost all the phone functions. The only ones that you can't access are any buttons that might be on the side, so perhaps a volume, perhaps a power switch, but everything else is accessible. Now, if you're using dry gloves, I have found it a bit hit and miss. If you're using normal finger touch, then it works really well. So anybody who's thinking about taking this out to the tropics, where you're not wearing gloves, or if you're just doing a dive without wearing gloves, you are not going to have any problems at all. If you're wearing dry gloves or wet gloves, then you probably need to look at something like the double ender that I used. But overall, it's a doddle to use underwater. I don't think anybody will have any issues with that. To help with usability, DiveVolk have got a few optional extras. The first is a tray with handles on which the DiveVolk can sit. That obviously makes it easier to carry, easier to point. The second is a Bluetooth shutter switch, so you don't need to press the shutter on the back of the phone, you just click it on the side. That's something that I really like. And following on from that is a remote switch for the video lights that allows you to turn them on and off and adjust the brightness. That's something I've not seen before on any other devices, any other underwater systems. Works really well as well. So a few things that I really like there. Tied in with this is also the Uwacam underwater app. I'm not sure of their exact relationship with DiveVolk, but DiveVolk do recommend it. It's a camera app that is specifically designed for use underwater. It's got a range of modes from kind of beginner through to advanced. You do have to buy it separately. I invested in it. I have to say I like it very much. So if you're going to use your DiveVolk, I suspect it's probably one of those things that you're going to need to buy as an extra. The other thing to mention, of course, is video lights. Anybody who's done any form of underwater photography knows the secret is all about lighting. And if you can take lighting, particularly if you're going deeper or you want to really bring out those colours, then some form of lighting is the way ahead. Typically, underwater photographers use strobes. I've never been a fan, not least because I don't have the time to be messing around with strobes. For most normal human beings, most people who are doing this as an occasional user, video lights are the way ahead. And once again, DiveVolk will supply those. They supply arms, flotation arms, and as I've already mentioned, that remote control switch. So if you really want to get the best underwater photos or videos, then you're going to need some form of lighting, especially if you're in green water. But even in blue water, having a source of light is going to dramatically improve the quality of whatever you're producing. So you put that lot together, and DiveVolk will supply it. There's a couple of different packages. You put all that lot together and you've got something that looks and feels a lot like a professional or semi-professional underwater rig. I'm not a photographer. I'm not really that much of a videographer either. I'm a diver who takes photos and who takes videos. And I suspect the majority of people who watch this are exactly the same as me. What you really want is something that is simple and easy and produces decent results. Which nicely brings me on to what are the results like from the DiveVolk. I think the most important thing to realise when discussing this is that the DiveVolk isn't a camera or a video camera, it's a housing. So the most important thing that will influence the quality of what you produce is what you put inside it. That may seem like a really obvious thing to say, but I think it has to be said, because if you put a rubbish phone inside the DiveVolk, not surprisingly, you're going to get rubbish quality of videos or rubbish quality of photos. I also don't think it's a surprise that a phone camera, a phone video, is not really ever going to beat a dedicated camera or a dedicated video. Right, having got those, I guess, caveats out of the way, I have to say I'm very pleased with the results that I get from my Google Pixel 8. For anyone not familiar with that phone, it's about 3 years old. It's kind of mid-range Android phone. Danny's in the Red Sea was a Samsung Galaxy S25, which is both more modern and, much better quality phone. And I think that is reflected in the relative output of both of them. Plus, of course, if you're going to use it in blue water, because there's more light, it's inevitable that you're going to get better quality video and photos from it. We both used the Uwacam app in simple mode, and I think once again that does really help. For me, I think the quality is really good. You have to accept it's not going to be as good as a dedicated camera or video camera, but for what it is, which is a way of taking your phone underwater by removing all that hassle that you get with dedicated cameras and dedicated videos, making it easy for you to bring it online, to show people, to put it in your social media or whatever. I think the DiveVolk is a really good solution. I like the fact that you can add those other features to it to make it more usable. The tray, the lights, the remote switch, shutter, all those kind of things. Put it together as a package. And I think it's super effective, which is why you are seeing so many of these out there. I've dived with people with them. I have seen lots of stuff online produced by people using them, and it's not a surprise. When I was at the dive show, that their stand was really popular because people, I think, want to be able to do this. They want to be able to take their phones underwater, and the DiveVolk, as far as I can tell, is the best way of doing that. I'm planning on taking my family overseas for a blue water, shallow diving holiday, and there's no doubt whatsoever that I will be taking this system with me, and I will be using it to do exactly what Danny did in the Red Sea, because it is such a good solution to the problem that divers have had for a very long time, which is how to record video and photos underwater and then publish them online on social media and all the kind of stuff that we use our phones for nowadays. So, in summary, I love the DiveVolk. I use it on all my dives for watching videos. I'm now starting to use it for taking photographs, and on those shallower dives, on those holidays overseas, this is going to be my go-to for doing that. Anyway, as always, I hope you found that useful. I hope you find it interesting. If you've used a DiveVolk yourself, or you've got some experiences with a similar thing, then please stick it in the comments. I'd love to hear your views, love to hear your thoughts. But for now, I'm Dom Robinson, Deep Wreck Diver, and I'll look forward to seeing you on another one of my videos.